Okay, welcome back everyone here for the Stock Talk podcast with Invest Like Mike. Today we're going to do a Bitcoin and crypto focused podcast. And obviously that is the flavor of the month, the flavor of the year. That is the hot topic right now. Bitcoin almost approaching $100,000 right now. Election just happened, big catalysts in place. Perfect time for this podcast. I'd like to welcome a couple of people here to the podcast. We have Anthony Karkidian, we have Jamie Ramos here. We got some Canadians and Americans here, I believe, together. Welcome to the podcast, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining me here. It's Saturday morning here. We're fueled by a little bit of coffee here. I wanted to bring you guys on for a couple of reasons. Obviously, crypto is the hot topic. We're about to go over 100,000, maybe even as we record this. And you guys have been along the ride with me for a little while, and specifically with cryptos. And you've been in my Invest Like Mike Facebook group for maybe 2-3 years, I believe. And you've kind of been on this journey personally and with me and then through the Bitcoin stuff. And I want to kind of have people listening and watching be able to kind of gather insights from people that might be where they are now or where you were before, and just to kind of get insights on how other people have handled things recently and kind of what your thoughts are, basically. So why don't we do this first? Maybe let's just get like very brief, basic info. Maybe just tell people your name, how long you've been investing in general stocks and things, even if it's not cryptos, and maybe how long you've been doing cryptos and your general experience with cryptos. Let's start with Anthony.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, Mike. My name's Anthony Karkidi. I'm based here in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and I've been investing, we'll say, since around 2017, primarily into Meta or Facebook. And then I was actually overseas at the time, living in Korea, so I didn't really have a lot of access in the Canadian market. But then when I moved home in 2020, I started to really dabble into crypto, Dogecoin primarily, when it started to kind of take off there. And then a good friend of mine here in Sault Ste. Marie was already following your page, Mike, and he put me on to Invest Like Mike. So I started following a lot of your content then. Not too deep. Obviously, at the time, I didn't have a whole lot of money, so I wasn't putting too much into it. But over the years now, learning more and kind of definitely following your page more and more as of recent. And then since I met you there in Mexico back in May this year, really started to dive more into your content and dabble more into the crypto and learn more about it, so that this most recent election stuff, I didn't really know too much about the economics or how the election really impacted investing and whatnot. So to follow your page and kind of gain some insight in all of that really helped propel me to, I'd say, a next stage now in investing and knowledge. So it's a little bit about me and my, investing journey, we'll call it.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like I was in Mexico and you were coming that way and you were like, hey, are you still there? And we got to get together for a beer and we talked about investing, and now full circle, everything we talked about is coming true, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, we were having a beer looking at the ocean on a beach. Pretty good.
Different time. It's about -2 here, I think, in the zoo, and a little bit different.
A little bit different. Yeah, just a little bit. So good. And Jamie, I believe you're in the US there. Maybe give people just a little background on your investing history and maybe how long ago you started following my stuff and your crypto journey.
Yep. I'm in Massachusetts. Probably been investing about 20 years now, early 2000s, but I was mostly bigger companies, kind of set it and forget it type investments like Apple, Amazon. But I missed the early days, which I wish I didn't. But anyway, I'm always kind of skeptical when it comes to investing my money. But nonetheless, right around 2016, I heard more about crypto, Bitcoin, but I never really could understand it. And then, so I'd follow it here and there. And then I came upon your page a few years ago, and I started watching what you were doing. And it wasn't just the crypto; it was more the charting. I noticed you were more into crypto, but still, the charting is what really interested me. And then the more you talk about crypto, I started getting more into that. And, I could see that there was a lot of opportunity there. And you were always very good about making analogies about how things were, as far as so I could understand it easier. And I really appreciated that. And I think I've told you before, the confidence in what you were doing. I could see that you knew what you were talking about, and you showed the results. You would post something, and if it came to be, you'd say, "Hey, posted about this a few days ago. Here it is." And I like that. You're putting your money where your mouth is, so to speak. And I was like, this guy seems like he's legit early on, touch and go. But here I am now, and no, I really appreciate your analysis. You've helped me come a long way as far as investing wise, looking at charts and and understanding crypto in general. And but like you said, we talked about earlier, I wish I could get more people involved in it too, but I just for whatever reason, there's that mental block there.
Yeah, it's tough to convince people to do something they don't understand yet, and it's like trying to get someone to change to a new diet. Unless they really believe in it, they're probably not going to do it, right?
It's so foreign to them. It's like maybe I'm not explaining it right, I think sometimes, but then I'm like, you know what? I don't think it's me. I think it's them. Yeah. So.
Well, like even this morning, I made a post yesterday, and I used a really good analogy to explain it and everything. And someone just put a compliment on there saying, "Great analogy." And when you understand a subject at a high enough level, you should be able to explain it to other people in a simplified way. If you can't do that, you probably don't know the subject well enough yet. I've come to that crescendo in the past 5-6 years where I'm on point now. My track record in the group is very good. I constantly get compliments on that. 10 years ago, I didn't, right? So there's a shift I made. And from 2020 onwards, I didn't make little short-term predictions. I made more meaningful predictions, and I put a lot of research into them. I had a lot of conviction in them, and pretty much most of them came true, And with Anthony and with Jamie, if you've been following me with the crypto stuff for the past year or two since the crash, I mean, I was promoting for people to get out of Bitcoin at $56,000 in 2022. It crashed to $15,000. And then I was promoting that I was getting back in and all kinds of extra stuff. If you followed along with that, even if you jumped in halfway through it, you probably did really well. And when you keep seeing a certain prediction or a chart breakout over and over coming true, it makes you believe more. And that's part of the benefit, hopefully, that people are getting out of following along with me there. So one thing I wanted to go into, we were talking about this in the lead up before we started recording. Anthony was recently at a dinner with like 50 people. Jamie's talked to people at work and in his personal life. I've talked to people at work and in my personal life. And I've kind of come across something that's shocking to me. And you guys kind of just confirmed it as well. So Anthony, when you were at a dinner the other night, you had some people there that were investors, even probably risk takers, people that should be crypto candidates. Out of the 50 or so people that were there, how many people owned any cryptos or like a meaningful amount of cryptos, would you say?
Yeah, probably zero.
Zero.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So no one there has ever really brought up the subject.
No.
And if you brought it up with them, they didn't really engage with you?
Yeah, exactly. Like there's a certain group of people that I do hang out with that's pretty much all we talk about. And then, you kind of get hesitant in some of these other groups because, people aren't, too privy to it yet, or, oh, that's too volatile, or that's a Ponzi scheme, or, oh, isn't going to go down again, or, too risky or whatever. But again, like you said, and I see the same way, like they are risk takers and, and they make meaningful positions in other things, just don't understand this yet. And it's all over the news now. And, Donald Trump being pro Bitcoin, getting elected into office in January. It's like, it's right in front of us, guys. But, maybe just not there yet, or not willing to learn it or trying to understand it yet, or I don't know. But I know for me, my focus and a lot of energy is put into trying to understand it better. And obviously by, working with you here, Mike, and learning more from you is like, helps that journey become more meaningful as well, because now it's like other people, like-minded people that are in the same group where you're like, okay, we all get it here and we're all in this together and we're all here to try and make some money, right?
Sure.
Yeah, and that's one thing I mentioned recently in one of my videos. It's like how many people actually know somebody that is actually educated and into cryptos at a meaningful level? If you have those 2 or 3 friends you talk to about it, you probably talk to them more than anyone because it's your only outlet, right?
Yeah.
And it's a big topic right now and we're making money off of it.
Yeah.
And so we want to talk about it even more. And it's just so weird that if I wanted to talk about the latest Toronto Maple Leafs game, I'd probably talk to like 1,000 people. But
Yeah,
if you want to
exactly.
talk about, even if you want to talk about Nvidia stocks, you could probably talk to anybody. But
Yeah.
if you want to talk about Bitcoin, you have to be careful.
Yeah.
You know, so it's one of those things. Jamie, what about you? I mean, you've talked to people, I think, that in your co-working space and probably in your personal life, like, and you're in Massachusetts, so you're not in Canada. Maybe America is a little more pro investing and things like that, pro risk taking. What's your experience? How many people do you have in your circle that are truly into Bitcoin?
I'm kind of in the same category as Anthony there. I have one person I can talk to, and he actually invests quite a bit. He has a wallet, he has a Coinbase account, so he understands where I'm coming from. But other than that, there literally is no one. But still, he's my outlet. We talk, and he's on the same page as me. I know you talk about the banana zone every now and then.
Yeah.
And he agrees. He's like, this is still the infancy of Bitcoin and crypto. It's going to go somewhere. And, it's just nice. It's almost like affirmation, just someone to kind of enforce your beliefs. You're like, okay, it's not just me.
Yeah.
And like Anthony said, talking to you and, the boot camp on Sundays is great, just to hear that stuff, to see, I've noticed there's more people joining too every week, which is great. It's, you know what I mean? It just gives you that affirmation that,
For sure.
there's other people out there thinking like you.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, it's just, I wish more people would hear what I had to say when it comes to Bitcoin or crypto in general. And I've even told them, like, MicroStrategies, you don't have to have a wallet. It's something you can just buy on a regular exchange. But even so, it's the same thing. But they'll hear about it eventually.
Oh,
as
yeah.
it continues to grow. You know what I mean?
Yeah. As soon as it goes over 100,000, everyone's going to hear about it.
They'll come back to me and be like, hey, Jamie, what was that Bitcoin thing you're talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
How does that work again? Like, all right.
It's kind of funny, like, to be someone who's so excited about a subject matter and you have no one to talk to about it. I remember back in 2006, Italy won the World Cup, and I was, my family's from Italy. And, where I live in the Niagara region, I don't really have my Italian friends and people around me here. So when they won, I'm driving around in the car with my flag out and I got nobody, like I'm celebrating this victory of the World Cup by myself. It wasn't that much fun. And with cryptos, it's kind of the same thing. Like, I can call anyone and talk about how Spotify or Nvidia or Apple went up or something like that, right? But to find the Bitcoin people, you have to be really particular, and it's difficult to find your own cheering section to talk to about it. And that's part of why I post about it so much, and why I think I get more engagement and comments from people on all of my crypto posts than any of the stock stuff. It's not even close. And obviously, I post a lot more about crypto than stocks because that's where we're going to make the most money, and it's been happening already. So why wouldn't I focus on where I'm going to make the most money, right? That's the way I've been doing it. So I'm just going to share the screen here because some people watching or listening here, they might not be fully familiar with the stuff we're talking about like we are. So again, if you're watching this, guys, you're welcome to sign up for the Crypto Bootcamp service. They mentioned it here every Sunday. I do a Crypto Bootcamp, and I'm going to go over all the charts, everything I own, what I'm thinking, when I'm buying, when I'm selling every week here. And there's a private Facebook group that I add everyone into. And if I make a major move or something major happens, I'll post about it as well once in a while. And, I started this out in the middle of October, and my prediction was that we would get a massive, massive rally. And I was explaining in there why. Okay. Now, again, just to mention to you guys, if you want to sign up for this thing, go to investlikemike.com, click the store page, and you'll see here Crypto Bootcamp. If you click it, it's only $150 a month. You get 4 hours of my time plus a lot of guidance in between. And I want to guide you guys through the entire cycle, just like I did in 2020. And hopefully we can all make money together. One of the big things I was warning about recently was the US election. And, I always tell people I don't like either of these candidates. I know you're not supposed to say anything good about Trump. But at the end of the day, we're talking about investing. So how will this affect your investment? It doesn't matter if you like them or not. How will this affect your investment? And prior to the election, I was predicting that if Trump won, we would get a super rally, and that if Kamala won, that we would still get a rally, right? And, that ended up happening. And I always post about my favorite quote, patience pays dividends, right? I've been saying that for years. It's my favorite quote. And when you pick out the right target and you get in early with the right catalyst, the right education, and the right strategy, this is what ends up happening. So Bitcoin went to $99,000. There's Wayne Gretzky, the Canadian hero there. And, we reached $99,000. This thing was about $68,000 or $70,000 before the election. So in the matter of 2 or 3 weeks, this thing went up dramatically. And what I want to show people is, here's a nice simplified chart that everyone can understand. And you'll see that I've highlighted the US election there. I believe that was November 5th or 6th. And you could see that there was a huge green candle that broke out above our red resistance line the night of the election. Partially that's just because we had an election, and partially it's because Trump won. He's the first pro-Bitcoin president we've ever had, and the US president is the most powerful man on earth. So previous rallies went up substantially without that. That's a big deal. And look at the rally we got. Okay, from the bottom here, this was around $67,000. Okay, before the election, it was around $67,000, and it went up to $99,000. Okay, that's a 50% rally. And for people that didn't believe in it back then, they're probably starting to say, when is this going to crash? They're probably still not believing in it. They're probably saying, wow, it went up a lot. When is this going to crash? And, one of the things that was mentioned here, I forget which of you guys mentioned it, the banana zone rally. So, it might be funny. You see these bananas on the screen, but essentially what you're seeing here is previous market cycles on your screen. Okay. So we go through this on the boot camp. You could see here that we had an election in 2012. We had an election in 2016. We had an election in 2020. And look what happened after the election each time. Banana zone rally, and we have a banana zone rally. Right now, we're just starting. We're just starting the breakout. Like right now, we're the equivalent of $100,000. This should still go a lot higher. And you could see that all the previous cycles had a banana zone rally that happened after the US election. The most meaningful, largest rally, okay, the largest portion of this rally comes after the US election. And I was warning you about this in the crypto boot camp before the election, right? We were doing this together in October. I think October 19th was our first session. And I warned you guys, I said, I'm in early. And I said, this is going to go a lot higher after the election. And I showed you what happened even in previous cycles. So, in the past 4 or 5 weeks, I'm sure you've gone through a lot of information, a lot of knowledge learning. What did you think when you first tried the boot camp out? Because I just did the first 2 sessions for free in October, let everyone see exactly what I was doing, how I run them. I made all my predictions in advance. I showed the banana zone rallies. I showed what percentage previous rallies have gone up post-election, just, from the election until Christmas even. And I made my case, right? What was your experience with that, Anthony? Because I'm assuming no one ever sat you down October before an election and said, here's what's coming. Here's how I view it. Here's all the receipts and proof. Now you can make your decision. What was that like for you?
Yeah, that was really great, actually, Mike. I had no idea prior to in this year really about how impactful the election was. I never really followed charts or economics in that way before, where I would just kind of FOMO into things in the past, be like, oh, okay, Doge is pumping, similar to what a lot of people have done. Okay, well, Dogecoin went from 10 cents to 18 cents. Let's get in. And then you catch a rally and you're like, when do I cash out now? And then, you might ride it back down to 40 cents or something. Whereas now I understand a lot more from taking this boot camp and following your page, where I'm like, okay, Mike's giving us some information here as to, okay, wave 5 coming, or, you may give, some tips stating that I'm going to move out of this position and move into this sooner than later, or I see this happening, or, anything like that. Like with the MicroStrategy MSTU recently, talking about how you exited your position and then moved into something else. And then sure enough, a couple of days later, we had a significant, crash in that.
It was huge.
It was insane. And again, by listening to you and kind of following your steps in that way, from the content you provided, it kind of gives me insight. Whereas if I was going in this on my own and I was just blindly investing, doing my own research type thing, I may not have caught that at that time. But
Right.
you're in it all day. You're looking at the charts and you're providing, meaningful content to the group here. And I'm grateful for that. And it's a special time, I'll say, to be alive, because it's a lot of fun to engage in, and I think the group is growing in that way at the boot camp. So like people are kind of engaging in the comments too, I see, with each other, which is really cool too. It's kind of building that community where we're all kind of in it together and learning and growing together. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What about with you, Jamie? I know that you mentioned you weren't looking at the charts quite in the same way before. You've been following along. Anthony mentioned that I made a certain prediction with MicroStrategy recently. I know that you're involved with MicroStrategy. How did you interpret that when you're invested in this thing? It's expected to go up a lot. Now all of a sudden, Mike giving us his strategy on taking profits. How did you interpret that, considering that some of this charting stuff is maybe a little newer to you?
Well, kind of like what Anthony said. It's nice to have your guidance as far as like what you're invested in and getting in and getting out at the right time. And that was always my issue too. Like like the FOMO, like you said, Anthony. If something's going up, I'm jumping in. But when do I get out? Or just even have an idea of when to get out. Me, I'm always looking at the news or for that kind of information. But now with you, Mike, you're showing us the charts, and you're like, hey, this is what the chart shows me. This is when to get in, when to get out. This is when it might break out. Things of that nature, and not just showing the chart, but you always back it up. And I love that you put more data in there, and you're like, this is why I think this is going to happen. And you'll show us like numerous charts, whether it's like a 2-hour chart. You'll show us like daily chart, yearly charts, and I love the. I'm a data guy, so I love to see the information, and that helps me out a lot. And it's definitely helped me to make better decisions. And I was in MST, as you know. We kind of went back and forth on that one, but yeah, no, I can't say enough good things about the boot camp and the info that you give us. It makes a big difference for me. Absolutely.
I over the years, what I've done is I've refined my own way of proving it to myself. If I can't prove it to myself, I can't prove it to you, right? So how do I prove it to myself? I need actual facts. I need patterns. I need cycles. I need data. And I need to put that together in a comprehensive way, which is difficult to do. But with enough experience and passion, you can put that together. And I have. And as you said earlier, I like to put my money where my mouth is. Like, I'll make a prediction in the group and I'll say, here's where I think it's going. And sometimes it doesn't work out. There's no such thing as perfection. However, most of the times it is coming true because I'm doing a lot of analyses leading up to it, and I hold back from making a post if I'm not sure of something. And I like being able to help teach you guys how to understand it like me, because that's the only way you will gain any confidence and be able to decide, hey, maybe I should partake in this. I'm not going to tell you what to do, right? It's your money. I'm just a guy on the internet. But if you're seeing and hearing the reasoning that I'm saying, and you're watching CNBC and whatever else, you can then put together your own formula and say, I think I should go in this direction, right? And that's the entire goal. Just to point out what Jamie was talking about there, I posted this chart to my Invest Like Mike group on Facebook the other day. And what I was doing basically was I was saying to you, look at what happened at the peak of this more recent rally here in October before the election. Look what happened at the peak over here right before the election. Look what happened here in November, right? And you have these days, and what I pointed out, just in case anyone's wondering why this is significant, each of these red days led to a drop in the price of MicroStrategy that was pretty meaningful, okay? And on those red days where the arrow is pointing, Bitcoin was green. Bitcoin went up a lot, and MicroStrategy went down a lot at the peak of its rally, okay? And I taught you guys that MicroStrategy goes up way more than it should, way more than Bitcoin, and then it overcorrects at the top of the rally. And I showed you the pattern, 3 in a row. And I think I posted that chart, guys. If I'm correct, I think I posted that chart probably right here, okay? Like 2-3 days ago, I posted that chart right there, okay? And when I did that, I said, guys, we might not be at the top yet. We're right here. Maybe it'll even go higher. But at some point, probably this week, we're going to have one of these red candles. Look what happened. 16% drop in a single day, the largest pullback in the history of this stock. Okay. And if we're talking about MSTU, you actually dropped probably 30%. Okay. And so, you know, when you're talking about this stuff here, I think it's important to have those kinds of insights, those kinds of warnings, and then you can make your own decision on it. What was it like for you guys to experience this portion? Because I'm going to show people, you know, MicroStrategy itself went up 150%. When I made that post, it was already up over 100%. And, you know, when we're looking at this stuff here, even with MSTU, let me go to MSTU. This is the leveraged version. Okay. Look at that big candle. It went down 28%. And when it went up this month here recently, it went up almost 400%. Okay. So what was it like for you to go through this process and have me kind of warning about it at the same time that you were making crazy returns? Anthony, what was that like?
Yeah, it's definitely fun to watch it go up, and you know, you know what you had predicted or following your charts to see, you know, get in now type thing, because this is going to move up meaningfully, which it did. And then again, what I had done was dollar cost average in as it started to decline, because again, we don't know when it's going to pull back. And then when you posted, you know, kind of, I'm exiting my position now. This is why I believe, you know, giving us the opportunity to see what you're doing, being fully transparent that, you know, you've recommended this, do your own research, but this is what I'm doing. You took your profits, you know, as you know, I did too. And then wait for the dip. It did. And then I bought back in that same day where it dropped down to whatever it was, 380 or 385, something like that. I was able to re-enter again. And then, you know, now we're hopefully back on our journey up. We'll kind of see how the next couple of weeks go with Bitcoin. But, and it's also really cool, Mike, when you post the wrestling stuff, like when Goldberg punches through, like, I can't wait for 100K to see what's coming next.
So I try to make it fun and keep it exciting a little bit using the athletes and the wrestlers and some funny stuff, because, you know, it's not just about investing, right? You got to have some fun along the way as you're doing it.
Yeah, the nostalgia is great. I love that.
it works well, right? So we're currently at Wayne Gretzky waiting for 100,000, right? So it works out pretty well. What about with your experience there, Jamie? Because I know that you were in on this one early with me and you saw it going up and you're trying to figure out, you know, Mike's saying there's a dip coming, but it just went up again. I got out at around, for MSTU, I got out around 225. It went higher without me, but then it dropped to like 170. And I was able to actually buy it back cheaper. You're never going to time the top. I always tell you guys that. What was your experience with that? Because that's a pretty crazy ride.
Oh, no, it was a great ride. I think I told you, I've never experienced anything like that.
Amazing.
Any kind of investment I've had move like that quick. But I remember there were a couple times where in my mind, I'm like, I should get out. But you would just tell me like, yeah, I think there's more room to run. You kind of just give me that assurance. So I stayed in, and I made great returns, but I did miss the top a little there. And I remember your post, and I wish I would have listened at the time. But nonetheless, I did really well. And no, it was a lot of fun.
I'm sure it was fun to watch it go up the way it did after
awesome.
maybe not being sure that it would, right?
And the excitement's nice too. You know, it's not just, you know, obviously you want to make money, but you know, that's the thing with cryptos, the swings, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So I just want to share the screen. I just posted this to the group today. I don't know if you guys saw it. This is a brand new post here I just made today. And this is from John here on Twitter. I believe he's part of the CNBC or Bloomberg cast there. And, you know, he posted the best returning investments of 2024. Look what's at the top of the list there, guys. MicroStrategy is the number one investment out of all investments on Earth. It's number one. And number two was Palantir. And as you know, if you followed my Invest Like Mike group, that was one of my top picks. Palantir was a top pick of mine, around $20, and I think it hit $60 or $70 recently. Okay. And if you were following my group, you probably grabbed that at $20 or $30 and you doubled your money on it, hopefully. I see some of you shaking your head there. Nvidia, another one of my top picks. Spotify, another one of my top picks. Bitcoin, another one of my top picks, and MicroStrategy was the one I favored the most, and you can see why. So you guys just took part in the biggest rally available with me, right? And that's part of the benefit of being in there with me, is I try to go through the weeds and kind of carve things out and explain what I'm thinking. And you could see on that list there, 5 of the top earners this year were ones that I was heavily promoting, that I had the most conviction in. And that's what I want to share with people here. And that's why I brought you guys on here. I want to talk about one other thing here. So we just talked about some pretty darn good companies. Michael Saylor's behind MicroStrategy. Bitcoin's the safest crypto out there, in my opinion. We're talking about really good stuff here. And then we have Dogecoin. Okay. So Dogecoin is a meme coin. Meme coins do nothing. They're completely useless. It's a picture of a dog and people like it. And you can use it to send money to each other, I guess. But it really doesn't do anything groundbreaking. Okay. But part of what I've been teaching is that narratives matter. And Beanie Babies were popular in the 90s. They were pretty stupid, but they went up in value. There was a pet rock that everyone wanted to own. They went up in value. There's Pokemon cards. They went up, there's all these things that narratives kind of matter. And it seems as though Dogecoin is in that camp. It's one of the original meme coins. And then it attached itself to Elon Musk, who's the most recognizable man on earth. At the night of the election, I don't know if you guys remember this. I did a live video. I think you guys popped in there. And I said that I just doubled or tripled down on my Doge position at 16 cents. Okay. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but it just hit almost 50 cents today. Okay. So it basically has tripled in value since I recommended adding to positions on the night of the election. What was that journey like for you, considering the fact that you might not have fully been on board with cryptos and MicroStrategy, and I'm talking about Dogecoin. What was that like, Anthony?
So I've been familiar with Doge since it was, I forget what, it might have been 2021. It was my first ever crypto I ever bought. And I remember doing it I bought it on ShakePay, and then I had to go to Binance, or it was a mess to do it.
Yeah.
But I got it around a penny, and then again, with no knowledge or anything about it, shot up to 8 cents, 10 cents. And then Elon did that thing on SNL, and then it went crazy to 70 cents. And then again, I watched it come down. But so I was familiar with Doge, and I've had a bit of Doge for the last little while. But again, to see how meaningful it is with Elon Musk being part of, promoting Donald Trump and knowing that he's pro crypto and various other reasons, to watch it do what it just did in the last few weeks, and I guess not knowing, but kind of predicting what's going to happen in the future with Doge, although there's no utility to it. It is literally just a stupid meme coin. A lot of times, I think Elon even said in an interview in the past, human beings will kind of go with whatever the most improbable or craziest, thing out there. And he goes, and I believe Dogecoin is one of those things, and if he's able to incorporate that into, purchasing of Tesla or something like that, or bringing in the most recent announcement with the Department of government efficiency. Yeah. So something like that, where now to the average person who's seen that on the news is now it's in front of hundreds of millions of eyes. It's a bit of a different story, and it has literally zero utility. So as of right now, but hopefully those are the money makers.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty wild ride with that stuff. And one thing I've been pointing out to people basically from the night of the election onwards, I said, with Elon Musk in there, and he's going to call this thing the Department of Government Efficiencies, the acronym for that is Doge. And when he's interviewed about it, he says Doge. And if you watch CNBC or CNN or any news station, they don't say the word Doge, but they put DOGE right on the screen. The other day, I noticed that now when I see the crypto.com ads, when I'm trying to watch a YouTube video or whatever, you have a crypto.com advertisement come up, and it says crypto.com, buy Bitcoin and Doge now. They don't say Bitcoin and Ethereum. They don't say Bitcoin and Solana. They say Bitcoin and Doge. And crypto.com is one of the biggest companies on earth. They have Tom Brady on board. They've got everybody. Okay. They own an arena, like the crypto.com arena. for sports. And, UFC fighters wear the crypto.com shirts. And now when you see an advertisement from them, it says buy Bitcoin and Doge now. There was a press release by Donald Trump that came out the other day. An official government press release used the word Doge twice in an official press release. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, who will be in charge of the Department of Government Efficiency, they're going to start a podcast called Dogecast. And they're going to update people about what's going on with the Department of Government Efficiency for the next 4 years. Okay. We're going to hear the word Doge said 1,000x times more than we would have if Elon wasn't in the government. Okay. We would have barely ever heard about Doge much before by comparison to now. And that's been my whole process with it. And, one thing I just want to share with people too, this is something I posted about the other day, and it's kind of funny, but Dogecoin, with the rally it had since the election, the Doge market cap is now bigger than Ford Motor Company. Okay. So I kind of made a joke here and I said the 2024 Doge Viper, because they might as well start making vehicles now. I mean, they have a bigger market cap than Ford. And, it's one of those things where if you were aware of how this worked, you had the opportunity to take advantage of it. You didn't have to. You could have just bought Bitcoin, but I made people aware of what I was doing. Doge is now my second largest, or maybe about to become my largest holding, because it's gone up so much. And I have a lot of conviction on it. I posted a chart recently showing how it should still go higher, and that it's going into wave 5 of 5 using my Elliott wave theory. Jamie, what was your process dealing with this silly Dogecoin? And then it's 16 cents. It goes up a lot. Now Mike's saying it's going to go higher. He's talking about these 5 waves, which I'm not sure how clearly you understood those. How are you interpreting all this stuff as I'm delivering it?
My first experience with Doge was with Robinhood years ago. Kind of like Anthony, I got in a couple cents, but then I got out quick because I didn't understand it. But as far as I've noticed you've been pushing it or talking about it quite a bit. So obviously I'm pretty much reading all your posts, and like you said, with the wave 5, I'm still trying to understand the 5 wave theory. And but the more you post about certain cryptos or investments in general and how it works, I'm starting to understand it better. And but just for you, through your recommendation, it's becoming a bigger holding of mine.
There you go. It's going up enough now, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm seeing the results, and then like anybody else, it's on your chart there. It's noticing it's going up more and more, and you're like, oh, and then yourself, you keep saying, you think it's going to go higher. This is why. And like I said before, the data. I love the data. I'm one of those guys. I have to see it, and when I see it, it's like it's easier to understand.
Well, the other thing is, I posted the other day about Google Trends and how Bitcoin is starting to get searched more. When Bitcoin goes over 100,000, it's going to get searched like crazy. And I mean, what increases your Google Trends search more than Elon Musk and Donald Trump talking about you all the time? That's going to make people hear and remember the name Doge. If you tell them about a crypto named Bonk or Pepe, they might not know what the heck you're talking about. But you hear the word Doge, it's even in the crypto.com ads. And even if you don't want to hear about it, you're going to hear about it, right? And it's kind of one of those things where I think narratives do matter. And if you're a musician and not many people know who you are, if you make great music, it doesn't matter. You're not going to sell any albums. But if Guns N' Roses says that they're going to back you up and bring you on tour with them, you have no choice but to hear my music. I'm on tour with Guns N' Roses now, right? I'm on tour with the Foo Fighters or AC/DC. That's what this is. Dogecoin is now teamed up with Elon Musk and Donald Trump, and they're the most recognized people on earth, and they talk about it all the time. So that's why we put that together. With the charting and the 5 waves, that's part of what I go over in the boot camp. I have a training course happening next week. If people want to dive real deep, you can go ahead and sign up for the training course. I teach people exactly how I draw the charts, teach you how to draw them, and go into deep detail. And then if you are taking the crypto boot camp, you actually get more out of it if you understand the charts better. If you haven't taken the course, it might take you more time to get a grasp on those things. But I'm going to keep at it. I'm going to keep teaching, keep showing you what I'm doing, right? So it's been quite the journey here with you guys. I love getting, Some folks here have only paid me $150, and you might have made thousands or tens of thousands of dollars already just in the past few weeks. And I've gotten messages from people telling me that. And in 2020, I was able to do that with folks. Some people bought Bitcoin around 10,000. It went to 68,000 last cycle. And I purposely started my crypto bootcamp in October because I knew that the election was important and I knew what would happen after the election. And I wanted you guys to be along for the ride. And I'm glad that you guys joined up. You guys have been good followers of mine. We have a bunch of other good people in the boot camp there. I just want to let people know again, one last time here, like, you know, there's still a lot coming. That Banana Zone rally is still fresh right now. And if you want to join the weekly training session, the crypto boot camp, head over to investlikemike.com, click the store page there, sign up. Again, it's only $150 a month. You get the 4 hours of training. And I'm going to post to a private group when I'm getting in and out of certain things as well along the way. It's definitely benefited folks to have been in this. I think there's a lot more coming, and I would love more people to join along for the ride here. Any last words or comments here, guys? Anthony?
Yeah, no, Mike, just excited for the next couple months here in this Banana Zone rally. Like, you know, you were posting about things like you said in earlier today, like Bonk and Solana and things like that, and you know, researched those ones and got into some of those smaller cap, you know, tokens, and I'm doing pretty well on those now too. So, yeah, just continuing to follow your content and you know, hopefully we all make a lot of money together, which I think we will, which is a great thing. Because I think about this too, like someone in your position who understands the charting and you understand the economics and the patterns and the trends, you don't have to share all this information with everybody, right? But, you know, you're kind of a generous guy in terms of giving back to the community that's following you and helping us along the way to understand it better so that we can all kind of, you know, be in the journey together and make a bunch of money together too, hopefully. And it's great for everyone because it's something like, you know, a lot of people with your skills, I'd say, don't necessarily share it all the time. And so I'm thankful for that, I'd say, for, you know, you continue to make these posts and doing these podcasts and sharing your content because it's helping a lot of people, I think. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I mean, I've been talking about that with a few people lately, and you know, I'm making way more money off of investing rather than sharing with other people. It's not even close, right? And at the same time, I still want to do it. And I think part of it is not everyone is talking about cryptos. I like having a little community to talk about cryptos with. And I don't know, I just like helping people. Like, I mean, if you can be on the ride with me together and it's an outlet to share my information, which I like doing anyways, why not bring other people along for the ride? And my goal with this is that if everything works out and nothing weird in the world happens, you're going to make way more money than you pay me if everything works out correctly. Like I said, some people have paid me $150 so far and made thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, as they have told me. And I like that. I like that. And obviously, if you guys are happy with things, you can refer people in. You know, there's other ways to contribute a little more towards my pockets, but that's, you know, I just want to share it with other people and have other people along for the ride, basically. So, Jamie, any comments from you here? Closing words?
Yeah, Mike, I can't say enough good things about your class. Like I said, I love how you explain things. You try to put it more like to a basic level for somebody who's just kind of entering into the crypto, you know, world as far as investing. And no, I love the content. Like I said, I can't say enough good things. I mean, I've followed you for a few years, like I said, and the returns are great. I can't be happier. And like I said, it was just hard to find. Initially, when I got into the crypto investing, it was just, you know, I was always looking for someone like guidance in some way, because you know, you kind of understand it, but you don't. And you've made that so much easier for me. And you know, I appreciate it. And hopefully, if I get enough people that'll want to get into the crypto world that I know, I'll definitely direct them your way, because like I said, you just bring it to that basic level where it's like very easy to understand. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and you know, just for anyone watching, if you're a beginner, you're gonna get a ton out of it because you're talking to folks here that are telling you what happened. But if you're more intermediate and you do understand charts and cryptos, you're still gonna get a lot out of it, because there's some stuff that a beginner might go over their head still, and that if you are more intermediate or advanced at it, you're actually gonna get even more out of it potentially as well. And I'm trying to bring those beginners up to an intermediate level through what I'm showing you guys, right? So I enjoy doing it. And I mean, I'll say this too, like, you know, I'm glad that you guys are along for the ride and everything. If this rally works out in the next year or so, the way we were talking about and the way it always works out, basically, I might not offer this again in the future. Like, this might be a one and done here. And I want to guide people through this. I want to help other people along on the journey. Hopefully you make a lot of money off of it. And then who knows where our lives are going to go from there, right? That's the goal, is just to catch a huge chunk of this rally and then start kind of building a new life from there if we do really well at it. So we're on a journey here together. I appreciate that you guys took time out of your weekend here to join me. Again, thanks for the good compliments and everything. And for anyone watching, like, I didn't bring these guys on just so I didn't tell them to say good things about me. It's just, that's what's been happening. And I have been accurate with my predictions. I make my predictions well in advance of them happening. And then I report when they come true. And I've made some mistakes along the way. I'll make some mistakes, but the goal is to make as many good decisions as you can and to be as consistent as you can. And I think that I've done a very good job at doing that. So, again, thanks guys for taking time out of your weekend here. Anyone watching, head over to investlikemike.com, sign up for that crypto boot camp. I'll guide you the whole way through this journey. Thanks again, guys, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, okay?
Thanks, Mike. You too.
Yeah, you too, Mike. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Take care, Jamie.
Yeah, you too, Anthony.
Thanks. Ciao.